onda pina. Pera. Acreditou que eu era milionário. Como é que é, meus putos do YouTube? Estamos aqui para ver foda-se. Why didn't survive North Korea? Man, isto foi o gajo que não sobreviveu lá. Foda-se, quero bué ver esta merda. We gonna see this video. Vamos dar uma olhada. Possível na Prozis e na Betano. Siga.
I have made the worst mistake of my life.
Legendas para os burros. O que Golias precisa de legendas porque ele odeia os Estados Unidos, então ele não quer. O que Golias fosse o Luís Shakur não quer aprender inglês porque ele odeia os americanos.
This is Otto Warmbier, an American college student.
Acabei de pôr legendas em inglês. Fosse que parvo isso do caralho. Tem. Tem aquelas automáticas. Tem. Isto dá para fazer, só que tu és burro e tu não percebes. Já lemos do caralho.
And tourist whose trip to North Korea turned into an actual nightmare. In 2016, he was sentenced to 15 years of hard labor in a North Korean prison camp for a seemingly innocent crime that many believe he didn't even commit. After his sentencing, all communication with the outside world was cut off. As tensions between North Korea and the United States continue to rise, it's believed Otto was used as a bargaining chip. The US was able to secure Otto's return after he'd been held in North Korea for over a year. But when he came back, he was a completely different person.
He was put in a brain-dead condition from torture. It was horrendous.
According to his parents, his arms and legs were totally deformed, and it looked like someone had taken a pair of pliers and rearranged his bottom teeth. Unfortunately, Otto died less than a week after being returned home to his family. North Korea refused to take responsibility, blaming Otto's death on a severe reaction to a sleeping pill. But the US pushed back, claiming his death was caused by severe beatings and torture at the hands of the North Korean government. We'll dive into what he allegedly did, but given North Korea's history of human rights violations, it's no surprise he was treated so poorly. Those who have survived the North Korean prison system have claimed that guards beat, tortured, and even starved detainees, leading to some scrounging for insects to survive.
It's the scariest place in the world.
North Korea is also known to use children for labor and, in extreme cases, give them the death penalty. Controlled by Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un, the country is considered a totalitarian dictatorship with the worst human rights record in the world. Today we'll find out what really happened to Otto during his stay in North Korea. Why was he used as a political pawn? And is North Korea really to blame for his death? Before we unravel this tragic tale, be sure to like and subscribe for more amazing survival stories.
Hello, everyone. When I was told that I'd have the honor of speaking at graduation, my first instinct was to find some key words.
Otto Warmbier was an adventurous, hard-working, athletic 22-year-old with a bright future ahead of him. He graduated from Wyoming High School in 2013 with the second highest GPA among his classmates. He earned a scholarship to the University of Virginia, where he studied commerce, economics, and global sustainability. Otto had plans to become a banker, but wanted to travel one last time before he got bogged down with countless hours of work. Otto was no stranger to exploring foreign countries and was fascinated by their cultural differences. He'd been to Israel, Cuba, Ecuador, and parts of Europe. In early 2016, he was set to study abroad in Hong Kong for his final semester before returning home to graduate in May. On his way to China, he decided to visit North Korea with Young Pioneer Tours, a budget-friendly travel group that specializes in taking tourists to places they normally wouldn't go. Their slogan even states, "Destinations your mother would rather you stayed away from." At the time, the United States had a travel advisory that strongly warned against their citizens traveling to North Korea. Still, the tour group claimed
Mas nesta altura ainda se podia entrar americanos, mesmo que eles não gostassem, né? Pelos vistos.
the trip was safe, even for US citizens. For Otto, it was a no-brainer. He signed up for a 5-day, 4-night New Year's party tour. Things started off light and fun for Otto and his tour mates. There weren't any red flags. Well, except for one offhand remark. Otto's new friends gave him the nickname Imperial Enemy as a way to poke fun at his American citizenship. He was one of just 2 Americans on the trip, which included Canadians, Australians, and Europeans. All in all, the group of newfound friends grew quite fond of each other. This is the last known footage of Otto before he would experience the greatest horrors of his life. Later that day, they celebrated New Year's Eve at a bar, before joining thousands of North Koreans in Pyongyang's main square. The tourists returned to their hotel, with some opting to continue drinking, while Otto's roommate for the duration of the trip, Danny Grattan, decided to check out the hotel's bowling alley. All in all, it was a successful New Year's Eve. On January 2nd, 2016, the group was set to head home. They made their way through security, with Otto and his roommate Danny being the last 2 in line. As the pair waited to get cleared to board the plane, suddenly, 2 soldiers escorted Otto to another room.
He simply had a tap on the shoulder. 2 guards took him away, and I sort of laughingly said to him, well, that's the last we'll ever see of you. And because we got on so well, Otto turned around and just chuckled at me.
There's great irony in those words. So why exactly was Otto detained?
Looking back, I definitely think that there was a plan, and he was a part of it.
As the plane was about to leave the terminal, without Otto on board, an official announced that he had been taken to the hospital because he was very sick.
Eia, com caralho, foda-se.
2 months after being detained, it was finally revealed why he was arrested.
North
2 meses depois, mano.
Korea accused Otto of trying to steal a propaganda poster from a restricted area at his hotel.
On February 29th,
And a poster from a restricted area at his hotel.
Foda-se.
On February 29th, 2016, during a recorded press conference, Otto calmly confessed to the crime. He was seen reading directly from a prepared statement. Many people, his parents included, strongly believe he was being forced to confess.
On the early morning of January 1st, 2016, I committed my crime.
2 weeks after the press conference, the North Korean Supreme Court sentenced Otto to 15 years of imprisonment and hard labor. Now you're probably thinking, 15 years of prison for stealing a poster? Seems kind of harsh. Well, in North Korea, damaging or stealing anything that mentions or shows the North Korean leader is considered a serious crime. Still, as more information regarding that night was revealed, the facts weren't adding up. Otto's story started to look more like a calculated move by the North Korean government than a drunken mistake by a tourist. For one, the video evidence shows a shadowy figure taking down a poster around 2 a.m. There's no way to even confirm if it was a man or a woman. The timing was also off. Otto was with his tour mates celebrating the New Year.
Were you even back at the hotel then?
No, the time didn't match up at all. I remember getting back to the hotel somewhere around 3 a.m., not at all before 2 a.m.
Otto's confession during the press conference also didn't make sense. Reading from a script, his statements felt coerced, as if he had hoped for a pardon. He said he had put on his quietest boots, the best for sneaking, to steal the poster. He also claimed it was at the request of the Methodist Church and the secretive Z Society at his university, both of whom had ties with the CIA. He stated it was all in an effort to bring home a trophy to harm the work ethic and motivation of the Korean people. Yeah, that sounds pretty sus to me. Of course, both the church and the Z Society would deny these outrageous claims. And on top of that, Otto was Jewish and not affiliated with the church.
I never should have allowed myself to be allured by the United States administration to commit a crime in this country.
So was Otto really framed? And why did his parents believe
Cacena do caralho, mano. Foda-se.
his arrest was linked to North Korea's weapons program?
this was a very sensitive time in United States-North Korea relations, so the North Koreans, you knew early on, would use them as a bargaining chip.
Relations between the United States and the North Korean government have never been good, and Otto's case had things going from bad to worse. Just days after being detained, North Korea had tested what was believed to be a nuclear weapon, and a few weeks later, a missile launch. This led to the United Nations imposing more sanctions against them, and the US government teaming up with South Korea's military for joint drills. In response to the joint drills, the North Korean government threatened a preemptive and offensive nuclear strike. So, how does Otto tie into all of this? It's believed he was used as a political pawn to not only ease import and export restrictions, but possibly enhance relations with the United States. 2016 was an election year for the US, and it's possible the North Korean government saw this as an opportunity to take advantage of. For over a year, both the Obama and Trump administrations were sending government officials overseas in hopes of bringing Otto home safely. Though his parents would spend months worried sick about their son's safety, they were reassured he was fine by the US government. The same government that initially urged them to keep quiet out of fear of making things worse, according to Otto's father, Fred.
That whole time we were told he was in perfect health.
By the CIA, by our State Department.
Despite this promise, it's believed Otto was severely beaten and possibly tortured while being held captive.
물고문은 있거든요. 내심처에서는 다 해요, 거의나. 예. 그렇게 많이는 안 했는데 그분이 감옥에 있으면서 간수들이 있잖아요. 간수들이 많이 때렸대요. 왜 때렸냐면 언어가 안 되잖아요.
Waterboarding is an interrogation tactic used which simulates drowning. It is illegal internationally and is considered one of the worst torture methods. If someone is subjected to waterboarding for long periods of time, they can be deprived of oxygen to the brain, leading to permanent damage or worse, death. Joseph Yoon, the U.S. Special Representative for North Korean policy, would lead the negotiations between the U.S. and North Korea over 17 months. That is until June 2017, when things took a turn for the worse. After learning that Otto was in a coma-like state.
Mano, mas começa a ver essas merdas, não lembro, vou entrar em sítios obscuros e começar a ler essas merdas e eu prefiro estar desinformado, mano. Eu prefiro estar desinformado. Eu prefiro chegar a casa e pôr a casa dos segredos, se faz favor.
Yoon, President Trump,
também adoro estas merdas. Mas depois na par, puta, começa a ver estas merdas na par.
And his administration demanded they go into North Korea and bring the American home. Arriving in North Korea, Yoon admitted there was no guarantee of getting Otto home. They initially wouldn't even let Yoon or the doctor accompanying him see Otto. Following intense negotiations, North Korea granted Yoon and the medical team access to Otto. What they saw, however, wasn't the same kid whose photos had been circulating media outlets. Eventually, the two governments would come to an agreement, and Otto was finally on his way home. But that promise to his parents of getting him home in good health was broken. When Yoon first saw Otto, he was pale and practically lifeless, with a feeding tube inserted into his nose. It was clear that Otto was never going to be the same. North Korean doctors who were caring for Otto claimed he had arrived at the hospital in a worse condition than a year before his rescue. Later, it was revealed that Otto had been in a coma for 15 of the 17 months he was detained. Even though Otto was returned home to his parents, many questions still needed to be answered. And the most obvious one was, what happened to Otto while he was imprisoned? North Korea claimed that he fell into a coma due to botulism after reacting to a sleeping pill. But the US argued it was due to severe beatings at the hands
Foda-se, caso de um comprimido para dormir. Billy, muito obrigado pelos 23 meses, meu lindo.
Of the North Korean guards. Returning home, Otto was in a vegetative state. His eyes were open, but he wasn't responsive, nor did he have control over his body.
We saw evil.
In his eyes, he had seen just terrible things.
And he had been reduced to this animalistic creature that I couldn't hug and I couldn't get a feeling back from. It was horrible.
After medical exams and brain scans, it was clear Otto had severe brain damage, likely due to a heart attack. Surprisingly, there were no definitive signs of torture or physical abuse. There were no healing fractures or any signs showing he had been hit. But he did have a large scar on his foot, and his teeth looked misaligned, fueling further suspicions. It appeared that both sides of Otto's brain were damaged symmetrically, disproving claims he was struck in the head. Normally, a blow to the head affects one specific area, not the entire brain evenly. After 6 days of laying beside their lifeless son, Otto's parents, Fred and Cindy Warmbier, made the heartbreaking decision to remove his feeding tube. Otto Warmbier officially passed away on June 19, 2017. Otto's parents would go on to sue North Korea and win after the country wouldn't contest the claims. They were awarded $501 million in damages. However, it was a more symbolic win than anything, as North Korea refused to hand over the money. The judge overseeing the case claimed that North Korea was liable for torture, hostage-taking, the extrajudicial killing of Otto Warmbier, and the injuries to his mother and father. In January 2022, the Warmbiers were given $240,000 after the US government seized assets from a North Korean bank. Yet, no amount of money will ever reverse the trauma they have and will continue to endure over the loss of their son.
Foda-se. A Norte Coreia nem contestou e cagou e perdeu e cagou e nem pagou. Foda-se.
This day, Fred and Cindy have made it their mission to expose the evil that lies within the borders of North Korea. If you have any plans of traveling to North Korea, use Otto's story as a warning, especially if you're American. And be sure to check out our video about the worst things to do in North Korea, so you know what not to do. We'll see you next time on How to Survive.
Porra-se, grande cena, puto. Grande cena. Porra. Meus putos do YouTube, comentem qual é que é a vossa opinião sobre isto. Beijinhos a todos. Até à próxima React.
Os que querem falar mal de mim, é porque também queriam ser assim. Todos querem vir comer do meu pudim, Não há espaço para espinhos no meu